Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Why Warriors traded out, then back into their late second-round pick. The Warriors didn't expect to make a pick in the 2024 NBA draft after they agreed to send their lone selection, number 52 overall, to the Oklahoma City Thunder for reserve wing Lindy Waters III. But serendipitously, the pick changed hands once more, and later became available again. And the way the draft played out, Golden State wanted back in. Some cash considerations later, the Warriors had their own pick back, using it to take Boston College stretch 5 Quinton Post. The transactions turned a busy couple days at the Warriors' war room in Chase Center into wonky ones. We felt like, Waters, versus the 52nd pick, this is a player who we feel can do better than 52, Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. said in a post-draft press conference. At that point, we decided, all right, now we're out of the second round and thus out of the whole draft. Decided we wanted to get back in because there were some players available that we liked. Lo and behold, 52 was available, and we really liked it again. So we got back in. A bit odd, but there was no original plan to make it all work together, but it eventually did. Waters, 26, has been on Golden State's radar as a buy low candidate for quite some time, Dunleavy said. Buried in a deep Oklahoma City roster, Waters is a three-point specialist whom the Warriors think can expand his game. Golden State plans to pick up Waters' $2.2 million club option and expects him to compete for a rotation spot on the wing. Along with Waters, Post was also a player Golden State identified on its wish list. When his name remained available as number 52 approached, the Warriors agreed to get back into the 52nd slot. The 24-year-old Post, the Warriors' first 7-footer in years, shot over 40% in each of his past 2 seasons at BC. Can shoot the ball, stretch the floor, Dunleavy said of Post. He's got really good size. But more importantly, you want players who can do more than one thing. We think he rebounds, we think he can defend at a level at the rim that's NBA acceptable. Good passer. So, he fits a lot of things we look for. By making that trade, the Warriors are hard capped at the second apron, meaning they aren't allowed to spend more than the estimated $189.7 million, which they were highly unlikely to broach anyways. That restriction wouldn't prevent the Warriors from swinging a trade for an all-star caliber player like Paul George or Jimmy Butler. We're aware of what the trade did, Dunleavy said. I think we're okay with that. To stay under the second apron is plenty of money to spend to build a good team. Warriors urged to boost Stephen Curry, trade blue chips for Paul George. When it comes to the current state of the Golden State Warriors, the most significant issue, far more important than the status of impending free agent Klay Thompson, even, is how the Warriors should approach the waning years of Stephen Curry's career. Every decision the organization makes must be made with Curry in mind. That, no doubt, happens. But there are 2 tracks to that thinking. One suggests the Warriors need to get as much as they can in the short term to maximize the remaining season's Curry, who is 36 years old but still averaged 26.4 points and topped 40% shooting from the three-point line. The other suggests that the Warriors be mindful of Curry's impending departure and keep developing young players to soften the blow when he retires. Both arguments are on display when it comes to the burgeoning notion that the Warriors could, perhaps, pursue star Clippers forward Paul George, who might want out of LA because of the Clippers' refusal to grant him a full 4-year, $212 max contract extension. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins, a 14-year NBA veteran and former champ, made his view on the matter clear. Trade the young guys. Give George the money. Try to win while Curry is still in uniform. I believe Steph Curry needs Paul George needs Steph Curry, Perkins said on Thursday morning. George is coming off his 9th All-Star appearance in 2023-24, a year in which he averaged 22.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, shooting 47.1% from the field and 41.3% from the three-point line. Getting him to the Warriors would require Golden State to send out veteran Andrew Wiggins, but also include some combination of promising young players Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, or Brandon Podziemski. On top of that, the Warriors, who are trying to rein in spending, would need to agree to give George the full extension. The teams could only accomplish such a deal if George agreed to opt into the final year of his current contract, at $49 million. Perkins says the Warriors should do right by Curry by adding George. "We're talking about Steph Curry, right? A guy that you have to maximize his moments, right?" he said. And he's coming towards the tail end of his career. Warriors named top landing spot for $146 million Klay Thompson replacement. The Golden State Warriors remain among the most likely NBA suspects to trade for a star this summer, and the realistic options are becoming increasingly clear. Despite an aging roster, they still have Stephen Curry near the top of his game, which means the right players around him can give the Dubs a puncher's chance to get back to the top of the Western Conference. Adam Wells of Bleacher Report suggested on Wednesday, June 26, that the Bay Area was one of only a few ideal landing spots for Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat following the conclusion of this week's draft. The Warriors could have a need for help on the wing if they lose Klay Thompson in free agency. There are rumblings they could try to make a push for Paul George if he opts into his $48.8 million salary for next season to facilitate a trade from the Los Angeles Clippers, Wells wrote. If that pursuit doesn't pan out, Butler would be a nice fallback option for a Golden State team that needs to take a big swing if it wants another shot at competing for a title while Stephen Curry is still in his prime. Butler won't seek an extension from the Miami Heat this summer, per Shams Charania of The Athletic, despite reports that he'd spent weeks pursuing a 2-year, $113 million agreement from that organization to guarantee him huge money into his late 30s. What that means is the two-time NBA Finals participant, 2020-2023, can, and almost certainly will, opt out of the final year of his $146.4 million agreement next summer and look for the greenest pastures he can find, financially speaking, in free agency. Heat team president Pat Riley has said the Heat have no interest in dealing Butler, soon to be 35 years old, this summer or ahead of the trade deadline next season. However, Riley has also not shied away from the fact that one of the reasons he refuses to extend his star player is the number of games Butler has missed due to injury. He's appeared in more than 60 regular season contests for the Heat just once in 5 years. That said, Miami has not remained competitive over the last 30 years by letting assets with massive value, Butler, to semi-desperate teams, the Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers and Philadelphia 76ers, leave in free agency for nothing in return, which is exactly what will happen if the Heat let Butler play out this season without a trade or an extension agreement in place. As such, it more than strains credulity when Riley and Butler act and speak as though Miami will simply run it back in 2024-25 with its current roster configuration and then figure things out later. Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. Thompson is on the verge of hitting unrestricted free agency, and while some like Yaron Weitzman of Fox Sports believe he is in line for a 3-year extension worth $100 million from Golden State, others are paying closer attention to the writing that's been on the wall for approximately a full year now. The Warriors offered Thompson 2 years and $48 million before last season, which he declined. He played solidly in 2023-24 and better toward the end of the campaign, averaging 17.9 points per game and shooting $38.7% from the field, but those aren't $33 million per year kind of numbers. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.